He was a young Republican.
All night. I want the young
All night.
Republicans. Young
All night with a
Republicans.
fat chub chaser. So Politico dropped this, made a lot of waves. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black. Okay, so let me just say there's going to be offensive stuff in this. You really cannot do the story justice without it. So, just a warning, this is just we're reporting what was in these chats.
Oh yeah, we have been advised by our YouTube manager to say that this is commentary on a newsworthy event. That's our disclaimer. This is being done for news and documentary and educational purposes.
Yes. But honestly, I'm also just warning you. Some of what you hear here could be upsetting.
Right.
They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about graping their enemies and driving them to self-deletion, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the words, two variations on the N-word, more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to grape as epic. Peter Gunta, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that, quote, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, unquote. Gunta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's 15,000-member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Representative Elise Stefanik and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort, have denounced the chat. And festering resentments among young Republicans have now turned into public recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. The 2,900 pages of chats shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. That's important to keep in mind because we're going to see J.D. Vance dismissing this as a bunch of kids and their, edgelordy locker room talk. But no, these people have jobs in the Republican Party. They're mostly post-college. I think they're all post-college, actually. In one instance, Walker, who at the time was a staffer for Ort, talked about how a mutual friend of some in the chat, quote, dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time. Gunta responded that the woman was not Indian. She just didn't bathe very often. Samuel Douglas, a state senator from northern Vermont and the head of the state's Young Republicans, replied to Gunta. In a separate conversation, Gunta shared that his flight to Charleston, South Carolina landed safely. Then he offered some advice for his fellow young Republicans. Quote, if your pilot is a she and she looks 10 shades darker than someone from Sicily, just end it there. Scream the no-no word, Gunta wrote. Douglas did not respond to requests for comment. In a statement, Ort called for members of the chat to resign. Gunta was the most prominent voice in the chat, spreading racist messages, often encouraged or liked by other members. When Luke Mosaman, the chair of the Arizona Young Republicans, asked if the New Yorkers in the chat were watching an NBA playoff game. Gunta responded, "I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkey play ball." Now, I'm getting into these examples because I want you to keep this in mind, because you're going to see a lot of people trying to argue this is just kids playing around or things are being taken out of context. There's no way to take that out of context. There is no, they're picking things that you could plausibly maybe say was an edgelordy joke, but taken as a whole, you could only see it that way if you're prepared to extend benefit of the doubt. And that benefit of the doubt evaporates when you look at these chat messages as a whole. How is that funny? How is that a joke? How is that even ironic or sarcastic? These people are just racists. They're just they're just reveling in denigrating people who are not like themselves.
What do you think the over-under is on comments we're going to get on this video saying that these people are actually not racist?
I would give that 100% based on experience.
I'm talking about the over-under in terms of the number. No, we're definitely getting some. I would put it at, like, I don't know, 30.
Oh, how many we're going to get? Or what the percentage
30.
is?
Over-under probably a little higher, probably 50.
Yeah. Well, because
the losers gravitate toward these clips. They like trolling these clips.
I was just going to say that because as we're going to get into, the people on this chat exchange are clearly losers,
right?
And other losers are going to jump up to defend them, who probably have similar physiques, as we'll see. Gunta elsewhere refers to black people as the watermelon people. Hendricks made a similar remark in July. Quote, "Bro is at a chicken restaurant ordering his food. Would he like some watermelon and Kool-Aid with that?" Hendricks was a communications assistant for Kansas's Republican Attorney General Chris Kobach until Thursday. He also said in the chat that despite political differences, he's drawn to Missouri's Young Republican organization because Missouri doesn't like bundles of sticks. Someone in the chat staying in a hotel asked its members to guess what room we're in. 1488, Dwyer responds. White supremacists use the number 1488 because 14 is the number of words in the white supremacist slogan, quote, "We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children." H is the 8th letter in the alphabet, and 88 is often used as a shorthand for Heil Hitler. In another conversation in February, Gunta talks approvingly about the Orange County Teenage Republican Organization in New York, which appears to be part of the network of National Teenage Republicans, and how he was pleased with its young members' ideological bent. They support slavery and all that shit. Mega based, he said. Okay. All right. So now this is something that is really predictable to us anyway. When we see who these people are, that these are the same people who take this seriously.
I have a doctorate in psychology. Not many of you knew that, did you? I know all these other geeks go to uni and get their little piece of paper. I learned on the streets. Street psychology. Now, before we continue with this hate speech, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is me squinting. Because it turns out the sun is directly in my face. My cameraman said, "You should move, the sun's in your face."
That's what I figured. That was my guess.
Really?
Just pretend I'm looking at your bank.
Okay. All right. So if you're looking at that as somebody who has it going on, as an example of manhood, if you're watching these guys talking and you think they give a shit about you, if you're looking at Rogan as a model for what manhood actually is, you're probably a big fat fucking loser. That's the way to bet. That's the way to bet. Now, when you look at who these people are. Indeed, they're big, fat fucking losers, as you would expect them to be. On the left there, that's Gunta there. On the right, that is Walker. Yeah, that's Bobby Walker. Oh, look at this guy. This is William Hendricks here. These are the people who are making fun of other people.
You must be almost 30. Have you ever kissed a girl?
Yeah.
That. Oh no, there are some women there, all pretty porky, all pretty portly there.
Very master race there.
Very, yeah. Oh wow, what perfect
what
specimens? What perfect specimens they are. But hey, what kind of strong, confident person would be attracted to a movement that is characterized by this kind of behavior?
Hell yeah, let's have a good time today.
This is in Portland.
Love in spite of ice.
Guys just, parodying ICE, like America. Right?
If you hate brown people and you are a Nazi, come on, ICE, leave Portland. Oh, here they come. They're not ready for primetime players. Woo! Demolition.
Leave him alone. What are you doing? He's talking? What? He's just talking. Boo!
They literally just came out and grabbed a guy who's doing nothing illegal. He's making fun of them. That's Nazi shit. So when you have a Nazi movement doing Nazi shit, you attract Nazis. And what do Nazis tend to be? Losers, failures, weirdos, creeps, because they can't succeed anywhere that decent people would go. They have to go where indecent people would go. They have to go where they're looking for people who are so weak, so broken, such failures that they'll do whatever they're told. That's why people like that are always attracted to fascism. So this is Sunday Girl. If these 4 young Republicans are the Uber mentioned, we all deserve a refund on evolution. Very well said. And, Turnbull here. For me, the most notable thing about the young Republicans' racism scandal is not that they say racist and anti-Semitic things in private, which frankly is not a surprise. It's how they're all so fat, yet feel confident enough to ridicule other people's appearance. Yeah, isn't that
they're
funny?
not confident. That's why they ridicule other people's appearance.
Of
because they're
course.
not confident. Right.
Of course.
The whole point.
Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at them. Aren't these the what happened? Where are all the AI memes about how the hormones are making them gay? Where's all that about these people? They're Republicans. Right. They're Republicans. Right. Where are all the memes of RFK saying, we want to get to the bottom of why what's making the kids all fat and gay? Looks like it's the Republicans.
Well, no, I mean, it's interesting because, I thought of RFK because, people share, people used to share, photos of him shirtless and ripped, as if he's a role model. Well, guys like you just saw in the photo, those are people who they want to be RFK, but the thing is they can't afford private chefs, personal trainers, and testosterone replacement therapy. Like, exactly. This is how that whole world, that whole manosphere world is such a fantasy. Rogan, too, he's on hormone replacement therapy. He's a multimillionaire. He's got chefs who can cook him all the best food. He could afford to spend 6 hours a day in a gym, and he's on TRT. If Robert F. Kennedy's name weren't Robert F. Kennedy, I don't mean to be mean, he'd probably be fucking dead in a ditch, given that guy and the history and the drugs and all that shit. Yeah, if his name weren't Kennedy, he probably wouldn't even be alive anymore. And like I said, exactly. I don't wish that on him. I'm not saying that to be crass, but I'm just saying this is when you are a fucking loser who idolizes people who live at a different strata of society from you, you're just setting yourself up for the kind of failure and self-loathing that then attracts you into these kinds of movements, because you're creating an unrealistic and unattainable ideal for yourself based on a sort of warped celebrity culture that you cannot permeate. And so when you fail to achieve that, you become very bitter and resentful, and that's how you start musing about how epic it is to sexually assault women, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Look, man, as you say, you look at somebody like RFK, you look at somebody like Rogan. Rogan's a little younger. It's possible to have a body like that without the aid of chemistry. You would have to build your life around exercise and diet like Jack LaLanne did to be built like that in your 50s without any kind of chemical. As far as RFK goes, that's impossible unless you're fucking with chemistry. And if you mess with that shit and you don't have their money, you're probably dying of cancer in 2 years. They can afford the kinds of doctors that are going to be able to manage that in a way that's not going to give you a brain tumor. But for you, the average schmuck, yeah, you're not. That's not happening. Man.
The average schmuck, you can't even get involved with that shit anyway.
Jock like
You can't even access that shit. You know, the average person.
No.
Yeah.
No. We are. This is from the Young Republicans National Federation, disowning them. We are appalled by the vile and inexcusable language revealed in the Politico article published today. Such behavior is disgraceful, unbecoming of any Republican. Have you noticed what's happened to your party?
Unbecoming of any Republican.
Yes. And stands in direct opposition to the values our movement represents. Those involved must immediately resign from all positions within their state and local Young Republican organizations. We must hold ourselves to the highest standards of integrity, respect, and professionalism. Forgive me if I'm wrong about the state. I believe it's Kansas has shut down their Young Republican chapter. So here's Mike Davis quote tweeting this. Stop being giant pussies. Stop playing by the left's rules. When Democrats force out Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones for his violent threats, then I'll start pretending to care about banter among college students. Okay, now, honestly, I saw this, and I didn't even bother to look into what it is because it's such obvious red herring. I don't know who this guy is. Maybe he said some fucked up shit. One guy saying something is very different from having it revealed that systemically your whole Young Republican up-and-coming organization is full of white supremacist, racist, sexist, wannabe Nazis. It's a little different. Even if I don't even know what he said. But even if it was the worst thing you could imagine.
I saw some tweets with some text. And look, if you're running for attorney general, I do take those things seriously because the attorney general, as we know, has tremendous power over the public. And so, yeah, he probably should withdraw. But the thing is, this is the game they always play.
What? I mean, why is it one or the other?
Right, exactly. Like
that's why I don't even really care. Right. Okay, I don't care okay, sure. He should withdraw. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Like the whole idea, I don't want to hear anything about free speech because Biden censored people. Okay, well, dipshit, you guys were elected to be better than Biden. Exactly. There's no point in you citing how bad Biden was if you're going to be just as censorious. That's not what you were elected to do, right? It's such a cop out. I don't want to hear you complain about me doing horrible things because you do horrible things as well. Okay, so all right, so what are we supposed to do? We may as well just not talk about this because everybody's horrible, right? Yeah.
All right, so here's Xavier DuRousseau, Israel's favorite black agent in America over here. I really don't care if a handful of overweight trolls in a group chat make a Nazi joke. The Young Republicans Politico hit piece, and apparently your patrons don't either, because we haven't heard anything from them.
Yeah.
The Young Republicans Politico hit piece just showed a handful of unprofessional bad apples. Just a handful across 4 different state organizations, 1,900 chats, one in elected office, several working within the Republican Party professionally. It's just a few bad apples. Meanwhile, young Democrats murdered one of our leaders, shot the president, and burned down cities. Okay, so I want to remind you of who Xavier DuRousseau is and how little pride he has in himself. This is from Max at the Gray Zone. DeRusso vigorously defended his close friend, podcaster Emily Wilson, after she stated that if everyone in the state of Alabama wanted the return of chattel slavery, go ahead. Why do I give a shit? All right, so you think that's an exaggeration, or Max took it out of context? He brought the receipt.
And I think if everyone in a state wants something, go ahead and have it.
So if everyone in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it, go ahead. What do I give a shit?
All right. Well, let's go next topic. I'm getting nervous.
I just want to clarify.
I knew we should have done this over Zoom.
That was the same argument that the Confederacy upheld, right? So do you wish that the Confederacy won the war because, according to your worldview, the Union impeded upon the state's ability to legislate?
No, but it's an irrelevant argument.
No, so you're glad that the Union won?
Like, I'm not some, like, psychopath. Like, I live in LA. I'm not some
I would
crazy
beg to
right-wing
differ.
person.
So now you're saying
live in LA.
If everyone in the state wants
Contest
something,
that point.
sure, let them have it.
You agree with the Confederacy?
No.
But the Articles of the Confederation.
All right, we
were
have to
states'
move
rights.
on. We got limited
Yeah,
time
like,
here.
these gotcha moments don't work on me. I'm not a like,
Okay,
it's
Emily,
not
don't
gonna
get don't get upset.
Okay.
Don't get upset.
So funny. I knew
Okay.
a girl in college named Emily Wilson who was very nice and very politically based. And so when I heard Emily Wilson, I'm like, oh, that rings a bell. And then I watched a video. It looks just like her. It's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, that can't be her, right? No. Okay. All right. It's not.
Okay, so a couple of points here. One, look, it's hard for people, particularly I think on that ideological side, but it's true of Democrats too, man. Or liberals. It's hard to get ahead because these people are racist. It's hard to get ahead if you're not of just a straight white person. So you do have certain people like Van Jones, like DeRusso, who are willing to peddle their skin color to run cover for racists, to run cover for genocide, as Van Jones will, to run cover for a genocidal Biden administration, as he did. And you got DeRusso here. He knows what his job is. His job is to use his identity, to use his blackness, to cover up for clear white nationalist Nazis like Emily Wilson. That's his role, and he's willing to do it. He's willing to do it. And I promise you, because he doesn't seem stupid, if you were to get him privately being honest, he would say, you know what? My bank account is full.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, also, the guy's running cover for Israel, calling pro-Palestine people anti-Semites. Here he is, in his own words, shrugging off Nazi supporters.
Right.
You got guys who are saying Heil Hitler, and he's out there, it's no big deal. But I'm a friend of the Jewish
just
people
a
in
few
Israel, and
losers.
anybody who thinks it's a genocide is an anti-Semite. I mean, it's so cartoonish.
Well, and this goes back to what we've been saying from day one. The Zionists' alliance with white nationalists is a very, very dangerous proposition for them that they don't want to see. These people traditionally do not like Jews. It is absolutely no surprise that that's how they talk about Jews privately. Of course they do. They always did. They always did. You ever hear Nixon's tapes? He hired Kissinger, but he still talked about Jews pretty much like what you see on this chat. Matt Walsh. You know Matt Walsh is bought and paid for? That he's a fake truth teller? You see how he jumped right on the narrative around Charlie Kirk? Jumped right on that. Oh, it's radical leftist. Went right on board with the Stephen Miller narrative. Oh, we have to dismantle these left terrorist networks. Didn't give any oxygen at all to the fact that the whole thing looked like a setup. Not at all, man. He pushed that culture shit hard. Matt Walsh is bought and paid for. If you actually read that Politico hit piece, you'll see that many of the messages are being taken wildly out of context. For example, the guy who said, I love Hitler, was clearly being sarcastic. It's explicitly meant to be a sarcastic joke. And yet Politico put that quote in the headline of the article, and conservatives are lining up to offer denunciations. How in the hell is anyone on the right still falling for this trick? How have you not learned by now to take absolutely nothing from the leftist media at face value, especially if it's a blatant political hit piece? Now, I'm going to be honest with you, man. When I first started reading the article, I was definitely open to the idea that this was liberal overreach, that's what I was going to conclude, that it was a bunch of kids being edgelordy because, hey, me and Keaton know a thing or two about dark, inappropriate humor. This is the difference. If me or Keaton were to text the other, I love Hitler, given the context of our views and our politics, it would be more plausible to say it was a sarcastic joke than to say that we were actually, trying to profess some kind of love for Hitler. But in context of everything that we've read, and we have here the chain that he's talking about, it is not plausible that it was like it's a joke, but the joke is a joke in this context because they do love Hitler, and the joke is coming out and saying it that way so blatantly. That's the joke in the context of this crew. I had some back and forth with the VC in Michigan. Current chair is a deer in headlights. We have a call Wednesday. PG, many agree. AD, he did say, my delegates I bring will vote for the most right-wing person. PG, great, I love Hitler. So this is Alex Dwyer, Peter Gunta, and Rachel Hope. Of course, Peter Gunta with the great, I love Hitler. It's a joke, but not the kind of joke Matt Walsh is suggesting. It's, hey, isn't it funny I'm coming right out and saying the soft part loud? Yeah, it's like a little edgelordy, but it's in a context of these are people who text each other because they're very excited that they're in room 1488. That's who's saying it.
Right.
So here's JD Vance trying to do the this is all woke stuff. This is all just people being woke thing.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat. Grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids,
couch was
especially
19.
my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to.
I always stayed out of Bob's Discount Furniture because of the temptation. That was all new stuff.
Try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
All right, so he's trying to go to their comfort zone. It's an anti-woke argument. These are just horseplay. These are just kids messing around. You know, one person made a point in the Politico article that was right. And this is what I'm saying, man. I'm not completely dismissive of the argument. And I did a lot of segments about it during the height of cancel culture about interrogating shit that people tweeted when they were 16. But the difference was usually in those cases, these were views they no longer held. These were things that they had outgrown, that they were being targeted for from 10, 20 years before. That's one element that he's eliding. Also, he's not even really characterizing this properly.
Also, I just have to add before we move on from that, you're talking about an administration that is trying to deport a woman for writing an op-ed asking for her school's, what was it, the board, to vote on a resolution passed by the student government, right? So it's, we don't want to ruin people's lives over their worst moment. Well, you're trying to ruin a woman's life over an op-ed in a school newspaper. You're trying to expel students for criticizing the policies of Israel, much less no bigoted statements. Yeah.
How many people got thrown out of their universities because of you fruitcakes for having an opinion
from jobs, having job invitations, job offers revoked. Right.
Right. Of course. Yeah. They just don't want you to get thrown out of the public square for being revealed as a Nazi.
Yeah.
At least not if you're a Republican.
If this were a Jewish Voice for Peace text thread, they'd be checking everybody's papers and deporting whoever they could based on these text messages.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
The group included leaders of state young Republican chapters from New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. Some members were well established in Republican politics, including one individual in the Trump administration and at least one state legislature. Oh, it's just a bunch of kids. Just juvenile hijinks. Public records reviewed by Mother Jones indicate that 8 of the 11 prominent Republican operatives in the chat range in age from 24 to 35, otherwise known as old enough to know better age.
Right.
The parent organization, the YRNF, serves members between the ages of 18 and 40. So now, also, this is taking place in a context where this just happened. We're not going to play it because I'm sure we'll get hit with the copyright. Jew me, sue me. Everybody do me, kick me, me. They don't care about us. The U.S. Border Patrol's Facebook page posted a video featuring the banned lyrics from Michael Jackson's They Don't Care About Us. Now, understand, they had to go find the unchanged version because they changed these lyrics because Michael Jackson got a lot of backlash when he released this. They went out of their way to get the original lyrics and drop it. So this isn't like they didn't really listen to it. So this is also part of the context. This is why, look, the Zionist Israel thing, this is because you have a lot of wealthy interests that want the genocide in Israel to continue. There's a lot of business to be done in Gaza. They want to develop Gaza Riviera. Also, as RFK said, it's our aircraft carrier. That doesn't mean they like Jews. Christian Zionist was racist from the beginning. Christian Zionism predates the Jewish Zionism that led to the modern founding of Israel starting in the mid-19th century. That goes back to really to the 18th century, Lord Shaftesbury, and part of the idea was always get the Jews over there. Get the Jews over there. It's a win-win. We don't have to live with Jews, and they can act as our agents in that region. That was always the idea. They don't, as a whole, actually like Jews. It is no surprise that you would have young Republicans picking up on that message. Look at this. The U.S. Border Patrol dropped this video. Again, there's no way there's like they didn't really listen to it. They would have had to go out of their way to get that version of the song. This is Shalel Ben Ephraim. It has been absolutely fascinating to see all these Zionist anti-Semitism fighters ignore entirely the worst anti-Semitism scandal from a major American party in history. Even the ADL has not addressed it. Think how outraged they were by the recognition of a Palestinian state, for example. That is because they are in no way interested in fighting anti-Semitism. They are only interested in Israel, the Palestinians being oppressed, and in Trump winning elections. Jews in America and their safety mean nothing to any of these people. There is no fight against anti-Semitism by Jewish organizations. It is just a weapon they use to further the genocide and destroy American democracy. That is all. And Ryan Grimm quote tweeted this. Imagine if a Students for Justice in Palestine group chat dropped and it was even 10% of this. They'd put them all in alligator Alcatraz by sundown. And of course, that's really the most bitter pill to swallow about all this. These are the people who have been shutting down wokeness for everyone except one group. You got to go get anti-Semitism training now at these Ivy League universities. Any pro-Palestine protest is going to be treated as anti-Semitism at a lot of the top universities in the country. You have all of this money going into studying the question of anti-Semitism. It's the one DEI area that the Trump administration loves, and they have not a fucking word to say about this. Since Elon got the call about whatever the fuck video they have from the island on him, if you use X, it's one crazy Zionist account that you don't follow after another. I haven't seen one of them say a fucking word about this, other than to defend it as DeRusso did.
Yep. Absolutely. If this were, even if this weren't a obviously, students for justice in Palestine, if this were Jewish Voices for Peace.
Jewish Voice for Peace? Oh, my God. If something like this came out, oh, my God.
They destroyed Jeremy Corbyn for much less. Much less. Nothing even in the same universe as this. If this were the British Labour Party, which isn't even a left organization.
He was just complaining about a bad pastrami sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, the double standard is just so absurd. It's so absurd. Like, they have zero credibility whatsoever, and that's why it's important to highlight stories like this, because these are the same exact people who are going to call you an anti-Semite for opposing genocide. Yep. But they're going to soft pedal it with I love Hitler chats. I mean, it's laughable, man. It's laughable. This is what I mean. Like, this whole chapter in history has really just solidified for so many people that the dynamics of the world are just might makes right. That's it. Like, this is what empire is. You can be this brazenly hypocritical and wrong in broad daylight. It doesn't matter, because who's going to do anything about it, right? Like, that's the lesson that they're teaching the world. That's what Israel's teaching the world, right? And so, yeah, it's just it's quite amazing to see that. Quite amazing.
Please clap.